Hello and welcome to Farmer's Kitchen. Hello, Mrs. Farmer.
Hi, Mr. Farmer. How you doing?
You know, it's funny. Somebody came up to me and said, "Why do you call her Mrs. Farmer?" There's an inside joke. Should we tell them?
I think you should.
When all us farmers get together, Mom and Dad and the whole clan, everybody calls each other Mr. and Mrs. Farmer.
Makes it fun.
It makes it fun.
And it's confusing. We like
There's nothing more complicated than that. We get used to doing it, and I call her Miss. At the house, I call her Mrs. Farmer. She calls me Mr. Farmer.
It's very respectful too. Thank you. You respect me.
Call me Mr. Farmer.
Because I am your elder, actually.
Oh, that's true.
I'm a little older.
So just like that, we fell into calling each other Mrs. Farmer.
That's right, Mr. Farmer.
I call Dad that. We call Mom that. It's funny. All the farmer clan.
That's right.
But her name is Nikki. My name is Jeff. We'll go from there.
Wow, it is. I've been calling you.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm Tim.
Oh, you're Tim.
All right. Tonight, we got a wonderful bunch of food out.
We do.
Now, we like to collect as much food as we can from the great outdoors.
That's right.
That's what I've done all my life. I enjoy bringing in game to the table.
You do.
And you do too.
I do.
She is a dead eye when it comes to deer hunting.
That's right.
And she has added much meat to the freezer. Today we have some striper that you probably caught.
Okay, maybe.
And we have some deer. Now this is what the old timers call the backstrap.
And that was your deer this year.
That fine piece of meat that goes right down the spinal column. That is a beautiful, wonderful piece of meat. You can see it's been trimmed up. There's no silver meat in there.
It's perfect.
It is beautiful. So how are we going to respect that beautiful piece of meat?
How are we?
There's lots of ways we could do that, but I started thinking about just a portion for you and I, and we're going to take and make 2 portions out of it because this is enough for us tonight.
Oh yeah.
So it involves just a little bit of a marinade. And do you remember not too long ago, we were discussing, we ate out one night and we had some duck. And I started thinking, there's something in there that is a little more bitey than wine. There had to be some kind of marinade, so on and so forth. So I started thinking, I started smelling stuff, and smell this right here.
Oh wow. I like it.
So that was, of course, balsamic vinegar.
Okay.
A lot of us think about that in a salad, but hey, it makes a great marinade for duck, for deer, and it gives you that complex flavor that you almost have to sit around and think about. And it gives it that little bite that you're looking for that's just wonderful. So we did it with the duck. Tonight we're going to do it with the deer. So we're going to do a little marinade. Now with the duck, we soak. You don't have to soak it for long. Just to get that taste, I think we soaked it for half an hour last time. We're going to do this for about an hour. So let's take a couple shallots. Okay. In fact, let's just take 1 shallot to start off with.
What's the smaller or bigger? Let's
do the smaller one. Only use about half of it.
Okay.
We're going to make a marinade, and that marinade consists of me. I'm just going to put a little salt and pepper on the meat itself, and I'm going to take these shallots, cut them up real fine, and the balsamic vinegar. I'm going to put it in a little plastic bag and we'll put it in the fridge, or you can leave it out room temperature if you're getting ready to cook it fairly soon. We're going to let that set for maybe an hour. Let that flavor sink in. So if you put those shallots in there, Mrs. Farmer. We had a bunch of farmers over here the other day. We had Mrs. Farmers and Mrs. Farmers over. Dad came over.
He did.
They stopped by for a minute, and he made his famous hamburgers.
We invited him for dinner and we had him cook. When he got here, we put him to work. That was
Everybody
fun.
wanted Dad's hamburgers, and you know Dad, he's eager to please. So
he makes the best.
we had some wonderful Jerry Farmer hamburgers, Mr. Farmer hamburgers.
That's right.
All right, I'm just going to simply cut this up just enough for tonight's dinner.
Ta-da.
I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic powder in there, and some fresh cracked cherry pepper. And then let's put some balsamic vinegar in here. Close to a half a cup. Zip it up. And just kind of, when you walk past it and you got other things going on, just kind of turn it.
Keep it going. All right,
let it get all soaked in. I'm just going to set this right over here. And I'm just going to keep turning it. Oh, Mrs. Farmer. Everybody's been asking because we posted some pictures of some baby lambs. Now these are not goats. Everybody sees, oh, look at those baby kids, look at the goats. Remember, tail up goat, tail down sheep.
That's a good way to remember. I like it. That's a good way.
Now these are katahdins and they're hair sheep, which means they shed their hair.
Right, which is
we don't
nice
have
for
to
us.
mess with wool. Wow.
Right.
So let's see if we get Dr. Alex to stop by. I wanted to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
We skipped a year, we haven't done this, so he stopped by and took a look at our baby sheep.
That's right.
Lambs, not kids.
They're cute.
They're cute. Dr. Alex is back.
Yep.
I just wanted you to take a look at what we got going on back here. We had triplets. We had triplets before. But let's talk about the cycle, how long it takes for them to have babies?
Spring is a very common time for any of our small ruminants, goats, sheep, to have babies because they're short day cyclers, so their breeding season comes in as the days become shorter. So commonly September, October is their most common breeding season. Then they have a 150-day gestation, so about 5 months, which carries them into the spring, which is advantageous for the mothers with grass coming on to, kind of bounce back from having babies, and then the babies to figure out what grass is and to start eating.
We need some grass, it's about time.
Yeah, it is about time.
You look over here, and what's funny is the ram that came in here, man, he was a hoss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a hoss. Solid white, she's solid white. She's got a little coloration, but look what we got over here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, to see as much color in that little male as he has is pretty wild. I mean, like you said, she's got a little coloring. She's got some freckling on her legs, especially as you get down toward her hooves. You can see some darker hairs, but obviously nothing like that little guy has.
Good looking,
so it's pretty cool.
Good looking outfit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's your overall thoughts about this? They looking good?
Yeah, they all look really good. I mean, we've been standing here watching them for a few minutes, and everybody is vigorously nursing. They're wagging those tails and kind of bouncing around like they should.
Now, at what point do we need to start thinking about what are the next steps? Do they need any kind of immunization? Do they need any kind of worming or anything? When do you start thinking about that?
So most people, if as far as deworming goes, a lot of people will deworm about a month before the mother gives birth because they're going to pick up their parasites from her or other herd mates.
Right.
You can deworm them. A lot of times people will do that at the end of their immunization series. Most common thing that we vaccinate sheep for is a CDT vaccine, which is Clostridium perfringens type C and D, and tetanus is in that. 4 to 6 weeks is about when they would get their first vaccine.
Gotcha. And
then 3 to 4 weeks after the first one, they get a booster. The only other thing would be on the males. Obviously, a lot of people would prefer to have a castrated male to eat rather than that testosterone taint to the meat. Banding is the most common way to take care of that with lambs. Some people will do that within a couple of days of hitting the ground. Most people, just from a standpoint of handling them as few times as possible and being efficient, will do that at the first round of vaccinations.
Right.
As far as a basic health check on these guys, when I first pick them up, eyes, meaning their the brightness in their eyes as well as mucous membrane color, and I'll show you how to look at that in a second. So the best place to check those mucous membranes are actually to roll that bottom eyelid down, and you can see it just bulges that tissue out. Nice and pink, almost red. Yeah, it looks great, looks really good. Umbilicus, so making sure that this is dry a couple days out, and there's no swelling. So everything's sealed off, basically no entry point for disease. Right. Everything's sealed up there. And then joints are kind of the big ones. So, and then all of his joints look good. We saw him running around in there. Doesn't look like he's limping, but it doesn't hurt to, feel around each of those joints, make sure nothing's swollen. So, but yeah, he looks really good. I mean, it feels like he's fattening up on mama's milk pretty quick. Yeah.
So what do we get grade-wise today?
A+. Everybody looks good. Everybody looks good.
That.
Yeah.
It's the first one I ever got in my life. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, I am preheating the oven, Mrs. Farmer, to 350.
Okay.
I am turning the heat on. The heat is on. You asking me earlier why I had a hat on?
Why do you have a hat on? That's right.
Because I've got hat hair.
Do you?
Now, let's let our oil get warm, and here's what we're gonna do, Mrs. Farmer.
Okay.
He's been sitting adequately. Tell you what, I'm gonna set that over here. Kind of just brush the shallots off of that.
All right.
And take a whiff of that, if you will.
Oh, it smells good, and I'm starving. I am really starving. So you want the shallots off of it?
Shallots off. Now, what you get with balsamic vinegar that you don't get with wine is you still get the grape situation, but you get the vinegar.
Yeah.
You get what's hard to explain, but it's absolutely wonderful. All right, Mrs. Farmer, we've got a good hot skillet, and that's what we want.
Right.
But we do have the oven preheating to 350.
Okay.
What you want with a piece of venison like this is we're gonna sear this. Then you're gonna put it in the oven. You wanna attain about, to me, this is my preference, about 140 on the internal temperature.
Sounds
So
good.
you want to have a meat thermometer, and this is a little lower temperature for this, but man, you can't
That's how we
you
like
can't
it.
overcook venison. If you choose to do so,
Yeah.
it's on you. Go ahead and drop it. So we're just going to get this nice and seared. Is that not a beautiful? Now see, that's a pretty big portion of meat,
I'm hungry.
but we're carnivores.
Yeah, I like meat.
So again, this is one of the few shows that you'll probably ever see that when you see us cooking, that's dinner.
Time for dinner.
So I'm going to get a nice sear all the way around. I mean, we're going to stand it up on the end. Seal all that wonderful
So you need this
flavor in.
pan for later?
I do. I'm going to put a little, you've already put a little bit of
oil on
oil
it,
in there.
yeah.
So there's what we got, Mrs. Farmer.
Yay, I like it.
You want to pop that in that perfectly
Perfect timing.
preheated oven.
Alrighty.
All right, so Nikki, I started thinking, you know, we could do bread, we could do
Right.
this or that and the other. We're not going heavy on the starches. But man, everybody's been posting pictures of biscuits.
They are making biscuits, aren't they?
Everybody's making biscuits.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, I see biscuits. I
Yeah.
want biscuits. Could you make me some? We can't claim this recipe. This
That's
is
right.
our friend Sally's recipe.
She makes the best
Here's
biscuits.
Sally making the best biscuits in the world. We're just going to follow that tonight. But I want tonight. I didn't want little ones. I want big cat head biscuits.
So you pick what we cut these out of, but
I'll pick the cutter if you'll make the biscuits.
her biscuits are easy because it's only 3 ingredients. And that's what she always
can't
talks
beat
about.
that.
That's right. And so we have some self-rising flour. I have 2 cups of that.
Right.
What we're going to do is I have a 1/3 cup here of shortening that we're going to put in. I'm going to
Right.
cut that in with the fork, and then we're going to add 3/4 cup of buttermilk. She says you have to use buttermilk.
Now you could
That's
use
it.
lard too, but we are out.
That's
We have
right.
to render some
We
more
need some
lard.
more.
And if you haven't seen us rendering lard, here's a little shot of us out over the fire rendering lard. And Nikki, we're out because you like
I
to
know.
use that.
I use it for everything. And she has a special
Cutter?
tool she uses, cutter. Yeah, but you can use a fork. It's easy. I always have used a fork. So I'm just going to kind of cut this all in together here. Kind of just mixing it in. All right, that's probably cut in good enough. And she says, make a little hole.
All right.
And we're going to go ahead and just pour in 3/4
Buttermilk.
a cup. And always buttermilk. Got to be buttermilk. And now we're just going to mix this up. It smells good, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
And that's it. That's the only 3 ingredients in this whole thing.
And I remember when she kneaded it, she didn't do it a whole lot. She just folded it over a couple times.
She said, yeah, just fold it 3 or 4 times and that is it. And she rolled it out. And she said, she makes these all the time. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of extra flour here. I remember she said use every bit. Don't waste any. We're going to roll this out to about 1/2 inch.
All right.
Oh, that made good dough.
You see that right there? That means it's going to be flaky, which I like. Let's see what size of cup we need to cut that.
Yeah, we don't have a cutter out, so you create our cutter.
What do you think about biscuits about that size?
Does that look about right?
I like it. And we don't need that many.
That's right. You
So
cut them out and I'll
think?
grab
You
them.
want me to cut them?
If you want them big, you got big old biscuits. Look at that.
Number one.
Oh, wow.
We don't need too many.
No, we don't.
Now, one other thing. This is the general rule. If you want them crispy, don't let them touch.
Is that what we're doing?
Do you remember her saying that?
Yes, I do. Because if we put them together, then your edge. But
Hey, let me tell you what. When the expert talks, I listen. So for the biscuits, now this is why I really like a double oven. For the biscuits, we're going to preheat to what? 450, Nikki?
yeah, and it goes 12 minutes. She said that's it. Thank you.
Keep an eye on those because we want those to be beautiful and wonderful and
So
perfect.
we each get 3.
Now we're about to get this going. Everything's about to come together.
Yeah.
So let's clean some of this stuff up and we will show you pictures of bouncing baby lambs. Okay, so we got the biscuits in. They go how long?
12 minutes is what she said.
At 450 degrees.
Yes.
All right. Melting butter. Got a little broccoli going over
So
there.
you cut up some mushrooms?
I cut up some mushrooms. Where are we at? And while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and melt this butter all the way down.
Okay.
I'm going to add a pinch of salt. I'm going to do a pinch of Italian cherry pepper.
The best pepper.
I'm going to do a pinch of garlic powder. And you can tell I'm not using much.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that's a half a stick of butter. And paprika.
Paprika makes everything good,
Oh, it
doesn't
does, especially fish.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to come back. I'm going to cut this lemon right down the middle. Do we have a squeezer around here
We
somewhere?
do. It's all you.
I'm going to put about that much juice in. That's probably a really overflowing tablespoon. Now smell that.
Oh, wow. I just eat that like soup. I'd eat that.
So I'm going to keep that going over here. I'm going to stir it every now and then. Can you cut me some more shallots up?
I can.
Okay, Nikki, if you'll drop those shallots in there.
All right.
And I don't know, what is that? Tablespoon and a half?
Probably.
Oh, I called you Nikki.
And I answered.
What's up with that?
Oh, it smells good. Just that. Just cooking
Oh, I
onions.
know. Shallots are
good.
wonderful. Okay, so we're going to take our shallots here and just saute them until they're clear. Or,
Translucent.
that's a big word, Mrs. Farmer.
I know, it is big for me.
This is so easy. You know, I really hope people will try these recipes because, I mean, really,
Oh, yeah.
there's not much going on here, but what you're going to get is going to be like restaurant quality
yeah.
food. All right, now where are we at? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in some beef stock.
Is that half cup?
This is just a roasted beef base.
Yummy. Oh, that smells good.
I'm going to get all those scrapies off the bottom because those end up good. Now, when you got those magic bubbles going there, that's
It's good.
what you want. That's going to make things reduce down. My balsamic vinegar coming back, about a quarter cup of that. And I'm going to take just a little bit, you know what's coming,
Red currant jelly.
just for the little bit of sweet
Yeah, gotta have red currant jelly.
to come up against that bitter. That's probably enough. So once we get this reduced down about like we want it, we'll put some mushrooms in there.
Ooh.
Okay, we got a lot going on here, but one thing I did notice, Ms. Farmer, your biscuits are done.
They are done.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
They look beautiful.
Look at that.
Let them cool down a little bit.
We just pulled our biscuits out. It's
Got them on a rack so they're
Got them on a
cooling.
rack cooling. I'm gonna take my concoction over here and brush
Yeah,
on these
that sounds good too.
fish. Oh, I try to do these for about 12 minutes. You gotta watch them to see where you're going. What we'll wanna do here, put this on broil. These are thicker chunks, so I'm gonna turn them over. Of course, you gotta watch them. When you're
Yeah.
broiling anything, keep your eye on. I'm gonna do about 6 minutes at a time.
Okay.
Now something I always do too, even though I have some salt in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little salt on top. I'm not going crazy on salt, but you
I
gotta,
like salt.
you got salt on
Yeah,
your
I got
fish.
salt.
Want to do a little more cracked pepper on there. Now let's get that thing broiling.
All right.
Now see, when that starts thickening up like that, Nikki,
That looks good.
that's when you know there. Let's finish this with some butter.
Okay.
Put me a slab or 5 in there. Let's go one at a time.
All right.
And that's gonna, oh
Wow.
man.
Make it
oh,
so good.
Man, oh man. I'm gonna put just a little bit of mushrooms, my thinner slices in here.
Oh, I love mushrooms.
And I'm not gonna get them too done. I just want those to, it's gonna be in our sauce. Hey, Ms. Farmer, dig in. Get you some of that reduction in here.
Wow.
What do you think?
Very good. You outdid yourself again.
You know, I like red wine, but that balsamic vinegar, you really
Oh,
get
it's
some a
good.
tang in there. Try the fish, Ms. Farmer. I know you love your fish.
I do love fish. Flaky.
And see how flaky that is?
Wow.
Because we didn't overcook it. See how that, nice and tender.
Your
Look
stuff
at
is
the
good.
Smoke pouring off there.
That coating, the buttery garlic is really good on top. I like that a lot.
Oh.
Ooh, ooh.
Pick up that lemon.
It's very good. Very good. Look at your cute biscuit.
Like I said,
Butter?
when I was in church, I always thought, they always had honey out, and I'm like, do we really get to use this?
It's like pouring sugar on it.
And the farmer, the house that his last name wasn't Farmer, but he was a dairy farmer, and he raised bees. So he always had honey out on his table, and I kept thinking I was going to get in trouble.
But it's okay.
So I'd eat one,
That's right.
and I'd look around and see what I was looking like. I can't believe I got away with that. There's my...
There you go.
Mark?
I'll take a little bite.
That's a beautiful plate.
Yes, it is.
Now, we've done reductions before, and I'll continue to do that.
Oh, I love it.
But try the balsamic
That's good.
reduction with your beef stock, with your currant jelly if you got
Right.
some. That just brings a little sweet taste in if you want it. Put just some mushrooms in there.
Oh,
Look what
yeah.
you've got. I mean, you go out to the woods in the water, and you come back with something wonderful. When you're out there deer hunting,
That's right.
you spend so much time getting it together. When you fish, you come back with this wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Treat it like it's the royalty that it's meant to be.
That's some good fish. That's
that
a good way to
something?
make fish, yes.
Now, if you like recipes like this, where would you go, Mrs. Farmer?
I go to timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
And you would find what? Recipes?
I find tons of
things to do,
recipes.
how-tos, how to
Right,
build
everything.
a smokehouse. Facebook page. We want you to be our Facebook friend. If you haven't got on there, it's extremely hard to do,
It
Mrs.
is
Farmer.
difficult.
How do you do
I
that?
get this one. You hit like.
Wow, that's
I know.
tough.
I know.
This is how it fires up.
It is.
I hate that,
I do too.
but there's going to be another show next week. But for now, it's all about
Good times.
good friends.
Really good eats.
And you know what? We'll see you next week in Farmer's Kitchen.
Mushrooms are good.
To order a cookbook, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com.